So, Jude, as a bereaved parent, can I ever feel normal or happy again?
In the beginning, I don't think that you can. You're on the floor and your life's just shattered. And I was just living with so much unbearable pain. For me, that was now 32 years ago. So it was quite some time ago, but I can still take myself back to that memory. And I couldn't imagine back then as a 24-year-old, I couldn't imagine ever not being in that pain. But equally, I couldn't imagine living the next 40 plus years on a normal average life expectancy in that pain and didn't know how I was going to cope. So in the early years, it was a lot of pushing through and just getting through. Now I have a slightly different perspective on it, and I feel that Adam was actually, that's my son, was actually guiding me through at that time. He was willing me on, and there was a lot of it. I felt even at the time that um, I had to go on for Adam. He couldn't go on, so I couldn't really then disrespect his life a second time by me not putting one foot in front of the other and went on. And that was how hard it was in the early years. And then life goes on. A lot of it was putting on a facade to people. A lot of people probably thought I was a lot happier than I actually was inside. And that includes later when I met my then husband, that wasn't my son's father. And also when I then later had my other two children that I've got now. But every moment, even really as they from when they were born to as they were growing up, it was always bittersweet because their big brother wasn't there with them. So there was always that big hole inside. And, somehow you push through it, you paint that smile on. And, people think that, oh yeah, you're doing okay. In the early years I went back to work and my friends dragged me out on that. But it was only later when my grief resurfaced back in 2016, and then I actually discovered energy healing. And then that was what was just a complete game changer for me. So I thought it was a lot of pushing forward, but I just really, through that energy healing, I released that sadness and that darkness that's still buried in your heart, even though to the outside world you look like you're doing okay, you're a functioning person again, and you're out in the world. But it was just transforming that lightness to it. And then I remember on that first workshop when that all came up, and the lady leading it said, "What would you want for other bereaved parents?" And I just said I'd want them to be happy again, because when you do have the moments of happiness along, they're also tinged with that guilt as well, for feeling guilty for being happy. But to truly get to that point where you can experience happiness and joy again, you still wish more than anything your child was still here with you. You can't take that away, but you can get to that moment. And that was something that I realized looking back, even with the semi-joyous moments with my other sons, that it wasn't at that level. I was only living half a life before, and then that was really where it became my mission there, to go out and share this with others so they can release some of that sadness that they're holding, so they can actually get to those moments of joy and they can experience true happiness. And I genuinely believe that that's what our children would want as well. They'd want us to be happy. They know how much we love them and how much we miss them. But and yeah, just another part that's come of that, which will probably come in another question, but where I've got that soul connection with Adam now, I can feel closer to him now just by taking a few deep breaths and getting into the moment and feeling that connection, than for years when I used to go and sit by the grave desperately trying to feel close to him, because that was where he was in my 3D mind. There he was there, and I couldn't get past that point that he wasn't physically with me anymore. But yeah, he's in my heart forever, and our soul bond can never be broken. So I haven't really lost him. And I think when you can come to a place like that, then that's when you can bring that true joy and happiness back in. And you can still do things to make them part of your life, and the celebratory experiences that you have as well when you find those moments.